Rome was burning, and her emperor was smiling. Flames crawled across marble streets as statues of gods cracked and collapsed into dust. The air turned black with smoke, and the eternal city, heart of the greatest empire the world had ever seen, was devoured by fire. Some swore Nero stood on his balcony watching it all, playing music as the city screamed beneath him. Others said he wept for the beauty that was lost. But when the fire finally died, another blaze still raged, one far more dangerous. The fire inside Nero himself, the boy who became a god, the ruler who mistook creation for destruction, and the man who turned Rome into his stage. Before the world knew his name, he was just a boy, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, born in 37 AD to a woman whose bloodline traced back to Augustus and a father feared for his cruelty. Nero's life began in the shadow of violence and prophecy. Astrologers claimed he was destined to rule, but only after killing the one who gave him life. His mother, Agrippina, didn't flinch. "Let him kill me," she said, "only let him rule." When Nero was barely 2, that prophecy began to unfold. His mother was exiled, his father dead, and the boy who would one day command the world was raised by strangers. But Rome loved rebirth, and Agrippina refused to vanish. She seduced power, poisoned rivals, and clawed her way back into the palace. Within a decade, she became empress, and her son, the forgotten boy, was now heir to the greatest empire on earth. In 54 AD, Emperor Claudius died suddenly after a suspicious meal. And at 16, Nero was crowned Emperor of Rome, a child with the power of a god, and a mother who believed she created one. In the beginning, Nero was everything Rome had prayed for. He opened the palace gates, ended secret trials, and returned stolen wealth to the people. Taxes fell, gladiators gave way to poets, even slaves earned new rights. For the first time in decades, Rome felt alive again, young, radiant, unstoppable. Crowds filled the streets shouting his name. Artists adored him. Philosophers whispered that maybe the age of blood was finally over. But behind the golden glow was a mother ruling from the shadows. Agrippina's face appeared beside his on imperial coins. Her voice echoed in the Senate. To the world, Nero was emperor. To Rome's elite, he was her puppet. And that made him dangerous, because nothing burns hotter than a god who realizes he's still someone's child. The moment he felt her hand tighten around his throne, he began to imagine what it would be like to rule alone. By the time the first blood was spilled, Rome didn't see it coming. Agrippina, the woman who gave him life, who forged his crown, became the first victim of his empire of illusions. The death of Agrippina should have freed him, but instead, it unchained something far darker. With no one left to fear, Nero began to see the empire as his reflection, a mirror of his desires, his art, his madness. He performed poetry on stage, dressed as women, danced with slaves, and forced senators to cheer like commoners. The Emperor of Rome had become its actor. Each performance blurred the line between theater and power, between audience and worshippers. But applause was never enough. When the people adored him, he demanded they scream louder. When they doubted him, he silenced them with blood. His wife, Octavia, was exiled, then murdered. His mistress, Poppaea, he kicked to death in a fit of rage, while she carried his unborn child. After that, Nero stopped pretending to be human. He began calling himself Apollo Reborn, the sun god incarnate, and the empire followed him into the flames, Senators feared him, soldiers obeyed him, but the people, the same crowd that once shouted his name, began to whisper a new one: Antichrist. It began on a quiet July night, a single flame near the Circus Maximus, and by dawn, the eternal city was a sea of fire. For 7 days, the inferno devoured everything: temples, homes, markets, even the marble palaces of the gods. Mothers ran through the streets clutching ash where their children had been. The sky glowed red for miles, and through that smoke, stories began to spread. That Nero watched from his balcony, that he sang as the city screamed, that the emperor had set the fire himself so he could rebuild Rome not for its people, but for his vision. When the flames finally died, he rose from the ashes with plans for something new, a palace of unimaginable size and luxury. The Domus Aurea, the Golden House. Its halls shimmered with jewels. A colossal statue of Nero towered over the entrance. Rome survivors called it blasphemy, a monument built from the bones of the dead. And so, to silence their anger, Nero gave them someone else to blame: the Christians. They were rounded up, tortured and executed, crucified, burned alive, torn apart by beasts. The flames that had consumed Rome now became his entertainment. The fire may not have started with Nero, but it ended exactly as he wanted, with every light in the empire reflecting only one face: his. By 68 AD, Rome had grown tired of its god. The laughter had faded, the gold had tarnished. Behind Nero's back, senators whispered of rebellion, and generals sharpened their swords. He tried to drown it out with music, endless performances where no one dared to leave until he finished singing. But the applause that once fed him now echoed like mockery. When word reached him that the legions had turned, Nero fled the city disguised as a slave. The emperor who once ruled the world now hid in a ditch outside Rome, begging for mercy from the same gods he claimed to be. His final words would echo through history: "What an artist dies in me." Then, silence. The empire moved on, but the myth of Nero never died. For generations, imposters would rise claiming to be him. Saviors, monsters, messiahs returned from death. Some said he was the Antichrist, others, a warning written in flame. But the truth is simpler. Nero wasn't born evil. He was born worshipped. And when a man is treated like a god, it's only a matter of time before he decides to set the world on fire. The fire may have died 2,000 years ago, but the story of power, ego, and ruin still burns today. If you were captivated by Nero's fall, there are more stories like this waiting in the ashes of history. Like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next descent into the minds that shaped and shattered civilization. Because empires fade, but their madness never does.